This is the His and Her Money Show, where we talk about managing money, marriage, and everything in between. Now, here are your hosts, America's #1 money couple, Talent and Ty McNeely.
This episode is being supported by TeachMeHowToBudget.com. That is the brand new online course that Ty and I created to help you guys finally figure out how to create and stick to a budget consistently on your journey to debt freedom. Because if you've been listening to our show long enough, you know that everybody that comes on here, us included, that have paid off debt, said that the key element was learning how to budget. So we put this course together to help you guys do just that. Go to teachmehowtobudget.com today. Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new fantastic episode of the His and Her Money Show, where we are helping you to manage your money, marriage, and everything in between. Super excited, man, to have you guys back here with us for another great edition. And you know what? Shout out to everybody who has taken a minute or two to head over to iTunes to leave us a 5-star review, because that makes us more visible and allows us to become a part of more people's lives. So if you haven't done so and our show has affected you, hook us up, man. Go over to iTunes, take about a minute or two, leave us a review so that more people will know about the His and Her Money Show like you do. And listen, this episode is super duper fantastic, man. We're going to be talking to a young lady named Jamila, who's going to share an incredible story of not only debt elimination. I mean, because her and her husband did destroy a bunch of debt. That much is for sure. But they didn't just destroy debt, man. They took it to a whole nother level, and they additionally saved $85,000 in savings in 1 year. That's right. They destroyed a bunch of debt and also have saved a bunch of money. And she's coming on today to share all about how she was able to do just that. So let's get Jamila on and let's hear her incredible story. Hey, Jamila, welcome to the His and Her Money Show.
Hello.
Hey, we are super glad that you're here with us on this episode of the show, because you have an incredible story of personal finance, endurance, and perseverance. We know everybody that's tuned in is going to love to hear your journey and your advice. But before we jump into all that, can you just take a moment and introduce yourself to everybody that's tuned in and let them know what you are all about?
Sure. So my name is Jamila. I am the creator and blogger over at journeytolaunch.com. It's a blog dedicated to chronicling my journey to launch with financial independence. And my goal is to retire, quote unquote, retire in 6 years by the time I'm 40 years old. And so I figured the blog was a perfect platform to share my ideas and the way I was going about doing that.
Awesome. Now, when it comes to personal finance, a lot of people know that they should save, put money away, but you know, the research is out there that over 60% of people have less than $1,000 prepared for savings in case of an emergency. So we know what to do, but a lot of us aren't doing it. So help everybody understand, why is savings a goal that everybody should be striving for?
Money can't buy you happiness, but it can buy you freedom. So I would say that a lot of people, they don't prioritize the now and the future, or they don't prioritize what's best in the long run. They only think about the moment itself. And so saving is so important because, without money, you don't have any options. I always say this, that the wealthy people, what money buys them is opportunities in life. If you want to have more options, you need to have money, and you need to be a good money manager. So it's really, really important that, saving and being better at managing money is like the top priority for most people.
Mm-hmm. And I think that there's we've been talking about, there's this gap between knowing what to do and actually doing it. Why do you think so many people struggle with saving money on a consistent basis? I think a lot of people have dabbled in it, stuck their toe in the water. They put some money in the savings account, but then they find a reason to go back and get it and spend it on something. But that consistency is not there. Why do you think so many people struggle with saving on a consistent basis?
I think that happens a lot when people don't understand their goals. I mean, they might have goals in their head, but it's not something that to them is realistic, maybe. It's not something that they can see themselves achieving. And it's very easy, like if you're on a path of saving towards something, that you can get discouraged or you feel like it's too far away or you can't do it. And so I find that unless locked in, it's written down, unless you have a clear vision, you can easily get thrown off course because then it's easier to then maybe, okay, go spend the money on some nice shoes or going out to eat with friends, which you can still do. But if you know that's not contributing and making you get closer to your goals, then you might double think some of those options. So I think goal setting, the lack of goal setting and having clear goals often throws people off the path.
Now, saving money is something that you've kind of mastered a little bit, to the point where at a 12-month span, you were able to save $85,000, 85,000 in 1 year's time. Now, before we talk about what you did and how you did it, talk about the why. What made you even attempt this lofty savings goal in the first place?
Well, just to go back on my story a little bit. Growing up, I was always like a free spirit. I always knew that I wanted to be rich or make money. I didn't know how or, what I was going to do. And so I ended up, getting a job right out of college and my corporate America job. And even though it was a good position, I said to myself, you know what, I'm not going to work in this job or any job for anyone after 30 years old. So that was like my intention when I first graduated from school. And, then along the way, I became like most people. I started working. I started making some money. And again, I lost sight of that goal. I lost sight of basically how I was going to make that happen. And so I started spending without really thinking about how I was spending. I wasn't really investing money. I mean, I was still a good saver, but I wasn't doing it with intention towards a goal. So when I became about 32, I woke up one day and I thought to myself, wow, you missed your mark. You missed that 30-year cutoff on that you weren't going to work for anyone else. And I realized I definitely didn't waste the previous years, but I was not optimizing the money I was making. Research, how can I not work if I didn't want to work? Or how could I craft my plan to early retirement? And when I started reading a bunch of blogs or Money Mustache, and I started listening to some podcasts, yours included, and I started to get some ideas. Okay, you need to like really maximize your income. And I'm married, so my husband and we thought to ourselves, or I brought the idea to him, like, look, what if we were able to aggressively save and invest so that this goal, this financial freedom goal was really possible, not something where, okay, it's going to be something that we worry about when we're like retired in our 50s or 60s, but how can we make this something we do now? That's what really prompted it. It was me trying to figure out a way to basically escape corporate America, as you can say. I wanted to figure out a concrete plan. Like if I did this for the next 6-7 years, where would I be? And so that's what prompted me to be able to do that.
That's incredible. Now, it's one thing to kind of have the motivation and even outline the plan. It's another thing to actually execute it and walk it out like you all did. So help us understand like some of the practical strategies, methods, tips that you employed in order to be able to put away $85,000 in a year.
Right. So I would say education of the pre-tax retirement accounts and post-tax retirement accounts are key, because when people usually think of the word save, they think of maybe, okay, saving in a savings account, and saving can be in your retirement accounts. It could be the pre-tax retirement accounts, your post-tax account, index funds, mutual funds, 529 accounts. So there are many ways you can save money. And so practically, I'm a spreadsheet person. So I thought to myself, okay, what's the magic number that it would take for us to feel financially secure? Or what would we need to accomplish by then? And one of the touch points was paying off our mortgage and having a certain amount in our retirement accounts and after-tax accounts. So I said to myself, okay, how can we do that? And so I kind of worked backwards, whereas I said, how much could we afford to funnel into our pre-tax retirement accounts? Because if we do that, not only will we save on taxes, but we'll be able to use compounding interest to grow our funds even more. And so in my 20s, I really didn't care much about pre-retirement accounts. I did like the minimum to get the company match. But what I realized was that if I could aggressively start funneling money into the pre-tax retirement accounts, into my account, into my husband's account, then we would be able to really, really get ahead in terms of savings. So I would say the pre-tax retirement accounts really helped us. And my husband's a teacher, so he has access to two pre-tax retirement accounts, which was really helpful. So not only were we able to contribute to my pre-tax retirement account for my company 401k, but we're able to retirement accounts for him, which really was able to like boost our savings rate.
Wow. Okay. So you all used the power, like you said, of compound interest, and you guys were funneling lots of money into pre-tax retirement accounts. Now, I know another awesome feat that you all did. You all paid off a bunch of debt in addition to this incredible savings rate that you were on. Talk about how much debt that you all paid off and some of the methods that you used to do that.
Sure. So I will say this, that we have always been pretty good with debt, meaning we didn't really take on much more than we could afford. So our debt, while we both graduated college with some debt, but it wasn't a lot like some people that we know. And at one point, I think we both I had a car loan, but we ended up paying all those off in like 2 or 3 years. Like as soon as we basically purchased the car or as soon as we graduated school, we made plans to pay off the debt. So I would say just having that no debt mindset was at least always in our mind frame, in our conscious. So we were able to make decisions based on that. So probably total in debt, counting the student loans and then the car loan. And then I also had a home equity loan on my first property. So we ended up paying all that off probably within the span of maybe 5 to 7 years. So, it was something we made a priority to do.
If you had to total it all up, what do you think it was between the student loans, the car, the home equity line? What do you think that would have amassed to in total that you guys paid off?
Probably like 50 to 60,000.
Now, you and your husband did two incredible financial goals. You saved a bunch of money and you paid off a bunch of debt. Now, picking one of those is like a journey to remember. You guys did two of these journeys to remember. And I'm sure that there had to be some moments of toughness there because there had to be a bunch of sacrifice involved in doing both of these. So talk to us about what was the toughest part of these journeys and how were you able to persevere through the toughness?
Right. Well, I would say that to put in perspective, when we saved the $85,000, that was in 12 months. So that was last year. And then the debt payoff happened over time. So it didn't all happen in 1 year. So it wasn't as though we did, everything all at once, but it was important to basically build up on our financial, I would say, history. So because we were always good savers for the most part, and we weren't big spenders, while we had debt, we always stayed on top of it. So we never let it get out of control. So we were always on the same page with that. And then I was lucky enough to, partner with someone who shares the same basic level of understanding of finances, meaning he doesn't need to go out and spend a lot of money. So it made it very easy then to now transition to, okay, how are we going to save and invest all this money? Because partly what had to happen was because a lot of the money came from my husband's checks, because remember I said he had access to 2 retirement accounts. We were able to funnel a lot of, his check into the pre-tax stuff. And so because of that, he probably saw the biggest direct impact to his paycheck. And that was a process because this was kind of my plan at first. It was something that I had to get him on board with. So I had to come to him and we had to sit and we had to have family meetings about it. I had to show him spreadsheets of, okay, so if we sacrifice now and maybe not go on this whatever amount of vacation, or go buy a new car next year, if we do this instead and we save this and we stay on this track for the next 6 years, this is where we can be. It took us really coming together to prioritize what would make us both happy. So it was still living in the now and finding happiness in the now, and then also saving for the future. So just getting that balance was probably the hardest part of it.
Are you at the end of the month and wondering where all your money went? Ever feel like you're living paycheck to paycheck? Are you ready to get your finances in order and start your journey to financial freedom? Well, you will enjoy and be given practical tools to make this happen with America's #1 money couple, Tyler and Ty McNeely, as they present Teach Me How to Budget. After becoming debt-free in less than a year, they know exactly what it takes and are ready to help you get exactly what you're looking for. With over 30 explosive and practical lessons, financial workouts, an exclusive Facebook group, and much more, they promise to give you the tools that you need to become successful at managing your money with Teach Me How to Budget. Unlock the secrets to managing a budget. Stop those bad spending habits. Cut down on your grocery bill. And plan to go on that dream vacation without breaking the bank. Come plan your paycheck on purpose. Visit teachmehowtobudget.com today to get started. That's teachmehowtobudget.com.
Now, there's a spouse listening right now who is at the point where they want change and they want better for their finances, and they're kind of nervous or apprehensive about bringing the plan to their spouse. You know, like you said at the beginning of you all's journey, this was your idea and you have to present it and, hope that he got on board. And there's some spouses that are wondering how to get their spouse on board. What would be your advice to them based on your experience?
My advice would be to take it slow, actually, because what happens is the spouse that's ready to commit and to go all in with the finances kind of is ready, right? And then if you bring it to your partner, like, this is what we should do, I'm excited, and it can be overwhelming for the partner that basically has not heard this before, or doesn't really understand what you're talking about. And so the process with my husband, it took a couple months, and we actually did it slowly. So, I made sure that I brought him in from the ground level to explain to him, okay, this is, because I'm more of the numbers person. So I said to him, okay, this is what our life could look like if we did these things. And I didn't push my, view on him, because I wanted him to buy in to the goal too. I wanted him to feel like he was working towards something and it wasn't just my dream. And so I think it's really, really important that you take your time with your partner, and you create a plan. So for what we did is we didn't automatically just contribute half his check to retirement accounts. That would have been too drastic of a move. So we decided to, okay, how about every month we increase your retirement contributions to 2%? And, we keep going. And if it's not comfortable for us, if, the budget is not working, we'll sit back and we'll evaluate it, and we can always reverse it if we need to. And so I would say you need to come to your partner, but be understanding that for them, this might be the first time they're hearing it. So you need to be, gentle with your approach. And another good thing I did, and I think a partner can do to help bring their partner on board, is to start sending them articles or start sending them some podcasts that you find interesting. Because what got me to get so excited was I was reading all these amazing articles, and I was listening to all these great podcasters talking about freedom and managing their money. So I was like, I heard something that would also piqued my husband's interest. I kind of just sent it to him. I said, oh, take a listen to this. Or, hey, how do you think our lives would be if we were able to retire early and travel the world? So it was more of having him being able to develop his own opinion through his own kind of research. And I kind of helped guide him that way. So that's how I would recommend, if you want to get your spouse on board, you can do those two things.
Yeah, I think that's great advice to take incremental steps. And like you said, in other parts of the interview, you talked about the importance of education. And I think with so much information out there, from shows like this to blogs like yours, there's really no excuse to not have some knowledge increase in the area of personal finance. And not only does the education piece help as far as your intellect and your knowledge base, but it also, like you said, it's incredibly motivating to know that people like you are making moves and making these things happen. And that's why we even do this show, to show people that, you can do this just like us, and we're no different, and you can make this happen too. Speaking of making things happen, you said that your debt payoff journey happened over time. It didn't happen overnight. But there came a point where you were able to make that very last debt payment. Talk to us about that moment, what happened and what it felt like.
It felt really good. And I remember that it was the option of paying off. It was that moment where we had some money in the bank and we could have chose to just pay off the debt in one payment, or kind of pay it off and do something else with the money. And I said to myself, you know what, I would feel better. We would feel better if we were just free of debt. Let's just do it all in one shot. That moment felt really liberating, because I knew that it would feel much better to be able just to get it out the way. Because I knew once we got that out the way, then we can aggressively start saving back our savings instead of doing it slowly and incrementally in that sense. For me, it was let's just go all in, and we'll build back up our savings later.
Awesome. Now, What does life feel like for you and your husband now that you guys are debt free compared to when you were first launching out on your journey to debt freedom? Talk about life now. What are some things you've been able to do? What does it feel like?
I mean, it's freeing. It frees up money in the budget. So instead of having to budget, okay, we have to pay this car note or we have to pay this student loan, we like all the money that comes in, it's up to us. We get to decide what to do with it. There's no creditor or there's no one else reaching into our bank account, taking the money without basically our approval or, giving the go ahead of that. And that's what it kind of felt like when, you have the minimum payment and you have to get it done by this date. It just doesn't, you just feel like, there's someone kind of that owns you. There's a company that owns you. So it feels good not having that and to have the more money in the budget to do more of things we like.
Awesome. Now, I mean, you guys are goals people. You had this $85,000 that you saved in a year. You had 50 some odd $1,000 of debt that you paid off, and you did it. So now what's the new goal that you all have set for yourselves?
I'm still on I would like to retire in 6 years or less. So for me, what needs to happen is we need to pay off our mortgage. That's the last thing we have to do. And that to me will be the measure of, mama, we made it. Like, we got this. So that's the next step. That's the next goal. And it's something that we are working towards. And once we do that, we'll be in a much better position to make a decision if I'll retire or not. And when I say retire, that doesn't mean I'm not going to work anymore. It just means I'll retire from corporate America and that obligation to have to work for money.
Love it. Now, you said, and we say, it's huge. If you want to accomplish any type of financial goal, if you want to move yourself into a better position financially, you must educate yourself. So what are some book recommendations that you would recommend to the people listening if they want to get their finances in order?
I would say finances are money. It's about money, right? But to me, money and the way you think about money is all mindset. It's all the power of your mindset. It's the way you feel about money. So a lot of the things that I like listening to, or the things that I think are best to start out with, are things that change your mindset. 2 books that I think would really be good for beginners or just people who just want to change their money mindset are The Magic of Thinking Big. That's by David Schwartz. And I actually listened to that. I listened to it on audio the other day again, and it was really good. I mean, it's all about thinking big and not limiting yourself. And a lot of people, they put on these mental barriers where they think they can't do something, or they make an excuse of why they can't do something. So The Magic of Thinking Big is one book to read. And a good old classic is The Richest Man in Babylon. That is it's a parable, but it has a lot of good, sage, old school wisdom that still applies now. And that's by George Clason.
Awesome. Now, Jamila, say there's somebody tuned in to the show right now who would love to accomplish some of the things that you have accomplished, but they, in their mind, like you just talked about, sometimes we have these mental barriers, and they may not be sure that they can put away a bunch of money in savings like you did, or pay off a bunch of debt like you did. What words of encouragement would you offer to that person right now? So
I would say it's easy to want to compare yourself. I mean, even hearing my story, you might look at it and say, well, that was so much money, I can't do that. And depending on your income, maybe you won't be able to do as much, but you can do something, right? So I think at any stage you are, no matter what income you're making right now, there is a way to optimize your finances. There's a way to save more. There's a way to spend less, no matter where you are. And because that's discouraging to a lot of people when they think of, okay, well, I can't do that. That's like not my life. And the biggest thing is really to think it is your life and you have control over it. And so you got to take control back and basically start making the steps so you can start living the life that you want, and not the life that someone's told you to live, or that bills that you owe or creditors that you owe are telling you to live. You really got to take control back and really think that you have the power to do something right now where you are at, no matter if your income is, low, middle, high, because there are high earners that can't save money, that are in debt, that are going bankrupt. So it's not necessarily how much you make, it's how much you keep. So I would just say, keep that in mind. Don't be discouraged by where you are now. Have that be your launching pad to where you want to be.
Speaking of launching pads, can you tell everybody more details about your awesome website, journeytolaunch.com?
Sure. So if you go to my site, journeytolaunch.com, you will find blog articles. You can save more money and invest more. I have a host of basically a lot of information, details of what we're doing to inspire you guys to do it also. And I also created a free course for people, basically so they can see the steps that we use to save money and also have it be applied to their life. And so if you go to my site, journeytolaunch.com, you will see it. And it's something that I think it's beneficial. I've had a couple people go through it and they said it helped them decide kind of how they should structure their savings and what they wanted to do for their goals. So I would recommend that. And also I have a Facebook group, same name, Journey to Launch, where we are encouraging each other to go for financial freedom and independence. And we share a lot of great information. So I'm on all social media sites as Journey to Launch. If you want to connect with me, ask me a question. I'm very responsive. And so you can connect with me in any one of those things.
Awesome. This has been incredible and inspiring. And we really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to share your story with our audience today. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Wow, man, that was fantastic, man. The power of focus is absolutely amazing. For so many people, they look at how much debt that they're in and they feel like it's an insurmountable task. Well, guess what, guys? You have the ability to change your situation. Jamila did it. She's no longer in debt. Not only that, man, she's building up her wealth. Her net worth is increasing. And guess what? You can do what she did. That's why she came on the show today, to show you that everything that her and her husband were able to do, you can make a part of your life too. But it takes focus. It takes determination, and it takes the attitude that says, no matter what, I'm going to accomplish my goals. So hopefully you guys took away some valuable information that will get you going on the road to financial freedom. Well, that does it for this episode of the His and Her Money Show. Don't forget, you can always keep up with us over at our website, hisandhermoney.com. Here it is. No matter where you are on the road to financial freedom, the key is to start now and finish strong.
Thanks for tuning in to the His and Her Money Show. For more information on how to win with your finances, be sure to visit www.hisandhermoney.com.